I don't want my shop turned into some damn shrine. Those were the exact instructions Smokey Yunick left behind before he died in May of 2001. He knew what he had built over 50 years on Beach Street in Daytona Beach, and he explicitly ordered his family to sell off every single wrench, engine block, and hidden prototype to working mechanics rather than let his life's work rot inside a corporate museum. But when his family finally unlocked the doors to Smokey's best damn garage in town to carry out his final wishes, what they uncovered inside those tin sheds and concrete block rooms sent shockwaves through the entire automotive world. For over 2.5 years, his estate meticulously cataloged a sprawling labyrinth of mechanical secrets. Inside were not just rusted tools and dusty NASCAR memorabilia, but decades of covert engineering experiments. They found custom-machined cylinder heads, experimental turbochargers, lightweight acid-dipped body panels, military helicopter safety harnesses adapted for race cars, and prototypes for his radical, hot vapor, high-efficiency engines that Detroit automakers spent millions trying to figure out. There were notebooks filled with hand-drawn schematics, hidden storage compartments containing gray-area racing components, and patents for everything from variable ratio power steering to specialized crash barriers. By the time the estate held a massive public auction in early 2004, over 2,000 racers, collectors, and historians rushed the property to lay eyes on the legendary mechanical skunkworks that NASCAR executives had spent 30 years trying to police. When news and footage of that estate liquidation began spreading through motorsport circles and eventual digital archives, the public reaction was immense. For decades, Smokey Yunick was viewed as racing's ultimate folk hero, the outlaw mechanic in a battered cowboy hat and grease-stained white uniform who constantly outsmarted multi-million-dollar factory race teams. Online car communities, automotive YouTube channels, and racing historians quickly turned the contents of his garage into a subject of obsessive analysis. Fan forums exploded with debates over his legendary mechanical exploits. Was he a pure genius engineer? Or was he just the most sophisticated rule-breaker in American sports history? Clips of his famous race cars, like the 1966 black and gold Chevelle and the radical Hearst sidecar, Indy car, recirculated across social media alongside discussions of his famous battles with NASCAR founder Bill France Sr. The narrative surrounding Smokey escalated because it tapped into a universal cultural archetype, the independent individual standing up against corporate authority. In an age where modern racing is dominated by homogenized spec cars, strict computer telemetry, and corporate PR handlers, Smokey represented an era when a brilliant guy with a grinder, a welding torch, and an iron mind could alter the trajectory of motorsport. To truly understand why the discovery of his garage contents generated such intense interest, you have to separate confirmed mechanical reality from the urban legends that grew around him. The confirmed facts are staggering on their own. Smokey was an untrained engineer who dropped out of school at 16, flew over 50 B-17 bomber missions in World War II, and opened his Daytona garage in 1947. He won 57 NASCAR Cup Series races as a crew chief and engine builder, grabbed 2 championships, and won the Daytona 500 twice. His engineering achievements weren't just racing gimmicks. He patented extended tip spark plugs, advanced engine testing apparatuses, and early track safety barriers made of tires and plywood long before safer barriers were officially adopted by major sanctioning bodies. However, online discourse has frequently blurred the line between verified engineering history and exaggerated pit lane mythology. The most famous story associated with his garage is the legendary fuel tank inspection. According to racing lore, NASCAR inspectors once removed the fuel tank from Smokey Chevelle to check its capacity, leaving 9 items on a compliance checklist for him to fix. The story goes that Smokey leaned into the car, started the engine without a fuel tank attached, said, "Better make it 10, and drove the car back to his garage. While Smokey did indeed bypass fuel regulations by using massive 11-foot coils of 2-inch copper tubing for fuel lines to hold an extra 2 gallons of gas inside the chassis, the dramatic story of driving away with no gas tank at all was a humorous exaggeration that Smokey himself later acknowledged had grown legs over time. Similarly, legends about him placing an inflatable basketball inside fuel tanks to pass volume checks before deflating it for the race remain widely debated online theories rather than documented tech inspection facts. What is factually confirmed is his mastery of aerodynamic gray areas. His 1966 Chevelle was hand-fabricated from the ground up. He subtly lowered the roof, raised the floor pans, smoothed out the drip rails, and acid-dipped the body panels in bath solutions to make the metal thinner and lighter, all while keeping the car looking superficially stock to pass standard template checks. When inspectors eventually realized how far ahead he was, they rewrote the rulebook entirely. Why does this situation continue to captivate creator culture and modern car enthusiasts? Because Smokey Yunick's approach to innovation directly challenges the modern tech and automotive ecosystem. Today, automotive content is heavily driven by influencer culture, flashy builds, and brand sponsorships. But Smokey's legacy was built on pure, unvarnished substance. He didn't care about public approval, corporate sensibilities, or polished marketing. When he closed his garage doors in 1987, he famously declared that he was stepping away simply because there were no more good mechanics left. That blunt, unapologetic authenticity is why his reputation remains pristine among real automotive builders. The fate of his garage property itself adds a tragic, almost poetic final chapter to his story. After the contents were auctioned off to racers in 2004, the 3-acre waterfront lot on the Halifax River was sold to developers. The main concrete building sat empty for years, serving briefly as an office for his daughter's publishing company before standing completely vacant. Then, on an April evening in 2011, the structure suddenly erupted into flames and burned to the ground in a suspicious fire that fire officials investigated. The physical, best damn garage in town was gone, reduced to ash. Today, where his shop once stood, modern condominium towers flank a quiet vacant lot. Yet nearby in Holly Hill, Florida, dedicated motorsport historians erected a granite memorial along Smokey Yunick Way to ensure his mechanical contributions are never forgotten. The clearing out of Smokey Yunick's garage wasn't just a routine estate sale. It was the final unmasking of a mechanical genius who proved that real innovation often happens far outside the boundaries of official approval. As the automotive industry transitions deeper into computer automation, sealed engine modules, and electric drivetrains, the discovery of what Smokey built with his own two hands leaves us with a provocative question. As cars become more complex and digitally restricted, will the world ever produce another independent mechanic capable of outsmarting the entire industry? Or has the era of the rogue mechanical genius officially come to an end?